Hello. Hi, welcome to the latest edition of Ragic Office Hour. And let's get started by doing some recap on the latest features. And today I'm going to introduce a couple of features that usually you will see on some of the other similar applications, and we recently introduced to Ragic so that we feel like they could be nice additions to our current Ragic application. So this is a sample project sheet. So the first one we're introducing is the colored options feature. So if you're looking at any type of selection field, and before the colored selection field is introduced, you will need to add things like BB code to make them colored, by adding BB code to color these different options, so that when it's displayed, there are colors in them. And because colored options are usually kind of pretty useful in a lot of cases, so we decided that we can allow users to add options, colors to the options. So if you add colors to the options, not only you can have, when you select the options, there will be different colors when you choose them, and you can also customize the colors of each options. Yeah, this is only introduced, I think, a few months ago. So, and you will be able to choose a different color for each of those options if you would like to have a different designated color for each of these options. Okay, so this is the first one I would like to introduce. So this is the colored option. And the second one, which is also quite useful, is the abbreviated numbers. So if you have a large number that you would like to display, like for maybe like a few $1,000 or like a few $1 million, so in a lot of times it's not that easy to read. So for example, if it's like $40 million, so it's gonna be like this. So even with the thousand separator, and it's not that easy to read for a lot of users. So if we can add an abbreviation, so we can go to the field configuration in the design mode, and we can say, oh, for thousands we use K, and for millions we use M, billions we use B, or even like trillions we use T. So if we have these large number abbreviation enabled, and the number will be displayed differently, like this is 40 millions. So this is a lot easier to read when you expect the number, the numeric amount in a field is gonna be big a lot of times. So configuring the large number abbreviation would be really useful. And when you're entering the amount, you can still enter the number like any other number. So you could still edit it like this, but when it's displayed, it's gonna be displayed in like the nearest million or thousand or billion. Okay, so these two are features that we think is pretty useful, and we saw it on other types of applications, and we think it would be a good addition to Ragic, so we recently introduced them. So feel free to try it out, and you can think about if these features would apply to your current application. So they could make your application look nicer and more readable. All right, let's go back to the question sheet. All right, first question. SQL-like query language for reports. Have you ever thought about developing some sort of query language that you can use to query different sheets, filter them, join or union, and then put the result as the source for a report page and save as a permanent refreshable report? And please add sorting options to the pivot report. Thank you. Okay, that's a two-part question. So for the first part, we are in the process of considering well, not considering, we're in the process of adding this kind of SQL-like query language, but we're not going to implement the SQL ourselves. So what we're considering and integrating Ragic with other tools like particularly Google BigQuery. So we're currently under the design and implementation phase for integration with Google BigQuery. So how it's going to work is that you will be able to configure your sheet to integrate with Google BigQuery so that it's going to appear on Google BigQuery as a data set. And with a Google BigQuery data set, you will be able to execute SQL on them and generate reports. Basically do anything you want and treat it as a SQL data set to generate reports and run SQL queries. But please note that because Google BigQuery is a paid application, and it's likely not gonna be a standard under standard professional plan. So it's most likely gonna be under the enterprise plan of Ragic. So we are in the process of building this integration, and feel free to let us know if this kind of integration will work for you, or if it would be a good plan for you to consider, like maybe you might need to upgrade to enterprise plan to make use of this BigQuery integration. Are in the process of designing and implementing the integration of Google BigQuery, which will sync a Ragic sheet to a data set. You will be able to execute query SQL queries and run reports on these data sets. Please note that this integration most likely be a feature under enterprise. All right. So yeah, we think an integration like this would most likely be very helpful for a lot of cases. Like you need to have a dedicated report data source, like BigQuery, or you want to run SQLs. Yeah, it's still gonna be hard to run SQL on any arbitrary sheet, because the structure is gonna a Ragic sheet does not correspond to a single SQL database table, because of the subtables and multiple selections and other linked fields. So usually it's not going to be directly a one-to-one relationship, like one sheet correspond to one table. So especially if you have subtables, it's most likely one Ragic sheet will correspond to multiple tables. Okay, next question. I have a form that consists of two sections. How can I get the second section, which consists of rows of input, to have the top line break? Okay. Currently, the second database I'm guessing subtables. Currently, the second database, which is formatted in rows for multiple data entries based on dates and defaults to having input below the filled-in lines. I have some tables with 40 plus entries, so this is a pain to scroll to the bottom. Oh, so you would like to enter at the top. Okay. Well, for now, Ragic always enter these. Um, I'm assuming you're referring to these database or sections. You're referring to subtables. So let's go to our project sheet again, and yeah, when you're entering a new row, it's always at the bottom of the subtable. So if it's something like this, maybe if we add a lot of rows here, so test row, test row, test row, test row, test row. Okay, so it's gonna be at the bottom. So if you're gonna enter something, let's say if you have lots of them, and if you're entering new data for example, the next subtable, you will have to scroll to the bottom. And currently, we don't really have a way to like change up so that you enter a new row at the top, except maybe at the listing page, the new record always appear at the top. But right now, we don't have a way to change the order of entry of how you insert a new record on your subtables. So an alternative would be to add sections. I'm not sure if you have added sections to your sheet, but if you add sections to your sheet, it will help. So for example, if I create this as a section, create section, and I can add like to number 20 is also a section, and we can add to number 24 as a section. So this way, when you save this, and you will, even if the first section and second section can be really long, you can still enter your data on the third section rather quickly by just choosing that section. So if you have really long subtables, adding sections to your sheet would help, so that you don't have to scroll all the way to the bottom or find the start of the subtable. So adding sections generally help. So I'm assuming that in your question that you're not referring to the sections that you mean subtables, not actual the sections that I just demoed on the form page. So yeah, usually if you have really long subtables, so if you want to avoid scrolling to the bottom, you should be able to add sections like I just showed you and kind of find the right subtable for you to enter data more quickly. And yeah, but if the subtable that you are entering data at is really long, but currently you can use sections to skip to that subtable, but we don't have a way for you to skip to the bottom really quickly. You will probably have to kind of scroll down to the bottom of that subtable manually. Multiple long subtables. You will be able to add sections to your sheet to directly choose which subtable section that you would like to view or enter data. But if the subtable that you're currently entering Yeah, I think off the top of my head, maybe if we notice that a subtable is really long, like it has more than 50 records, like 50 rows, maybe we can add a jump to bottom feature so that maybe it will be faster for users to find the end of the subtable. Jump to the bottom feature for users to jump to the bottom of a subtable quickly if the subtable is large, like more than 50 records. Okay, and thank you for your feedback. I think, yeah, you can try out our sections if you don't already have. And for now, I think a good way to do that would be to have a way to jump to the bottom of the subtables and to reverse the to enter the records at the top of a subtable. It's kind of it changes up the UI a little bit much. So we will still also consider the ability to enter records at the top of the subtable, but we'll most likely keep the current behavior and consider adding a feature for you to jump to the bottom of the subtable. All right, and that's it for the questions for today. And I hope you enjoyed this episode of Ragic Office Hour. And thank you for joining in. If you have any other questions, feel free to use the Office Hour question sheet. And I will be answering your questions in our next Ragic webinar in 2 weeks. All right, thank you and take care. Bye.